Hey, how's it going? All right, Zimmerman's wife, of course, is obviously not happy, and she's going to get some money from ABC in this exclusive, I would imagine. So, I just wanted to talk about it because I think it's pretty interesting. You guys know that I really haven't gone out of my way to support her. I thought that she lied unnecessarily. I mean, she lied. It was sort of a lie. I mean, the truth is she offered them the person that had the information. So in a way, she could have argued that in court and said, "Listen, I told him right there. Please, call my brother. He's the guy that's got the information," and they refused. So, you know, it was sort of a lie, but it was a lie. Anyway, she pleaded. She got out of any real major trouble. 100 hours of community service. She should do that anyway. But yeah, I just want you to hear this, and we'll talk about this. It's really interesting.
Exclusive interview with George Zimmerman's wife, Shelly. She is now filing for divorce after standing by him during his trial for the shooting death of Trayvon Martin. She sat down with ABC's Steve Osunsami, and he's in Sanford, Florida this morning.
So she said she stood by him, but remember that now we know that she walked away from him the night before the shooting, that she actually left the house and was moving away. So you just keep that in mind as you listen to this.
With more on this. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, Robin. She told us that you can blame it on the fame because after her husband won his case at this courthouse behind me, she told me that he started acting brand new.
In other words, before he wasn't sure, so he was very nervous, and he was just like so thankful and so glad that anyone was there trying to help him. And once he got, obviously, hello, he's like, thank God. And is that a problem? He got a new lease on life. He's not going to prison.
I have been married to a person for almost 7 years, and I don't think I ever really knew him at all.
26-year-old Shelly Zimmerman says she's filing for divorce from her husband, who was found not guilty in the shooting death of Trayvon Martin, because according to her court filings, their marriage is irretrievably broken.
Do you think that he feels that perhaps after the trial he felt a little more invincible?
In my opinion, he feels more invincible.
So, what she said in the filing, irretrievably broken, that's standard words. You'll see that in probably every single filing for a divorce because the judge needs to know that it's not retrievable. Because if it's retrievable, maybe we can do something to stop the divorce. But as far as George feeling invincible or, feeling like he's on top of the world, how would you feel? I mean, your life is taken away from you. These people have taken it away. You defended yourself. And for that, they've taken it away. And now he got it back. Of course. Hello? It's obvious that he's going to be feeling excited.
I just think he's making some reckless decisions.
Since his acquittal
I wonder what kind of reckless decisions she's talking about. Maybe speeding?
in July, she says he spent maybe 3 or 4 nights at the home they quietly shared. And
So take a look at the words that they decide to highlight of what she said. Out of the entire thing, this is what they have for her to say. I have a selfish husband. Nothing about the case. Has nothing to do with this case whatsoever. Why? Because they are trying to defocus the fact that he was found not guilty because she even says there's no way George would do that on purpose. Of course not.
she moved out August 13th. She claims he has a temper, says he was verbally abusive, and says they went to counseling, but it wasn't working.
I have a
So they're telling us that she said he has a temper, and that's why she's moved out after 7 years. There's no evidence of any abuse as far as we know. I mean, unless they're talking about arguments. And she certainly doesn't look like somebody who wouldn't be able to stand up for herself.
selfish husband, and I think George is all about George.
She has
Okay,
had
let's hear
legal
that again.
trouble.
This was the part that they highlighted, is that she has a selfish husband.
I have a selfish husband, and I think George is all about George.
She has had legal troubles of her own, just like
So that's the main thing, that they want to highlight that George is selfish. What's that got to do with the case? I mean, are we trying to prove that George is guilty? He's guilty because he's a selfish man, you know? I, it's not even worth discussing. Do I want to argue with these people whether George is selfish or not? They haven't brought me any evidence except this uh, Miss Piggy wannabe. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She looks like a selfish person, and I've always said, I'm like, how did George ever hook up with this woman? But, I've been careful not to say anything about her because, he chose her. That's the person that he was with. Fortunately for him, he's probably going to hook up with something a lot better, you know? Not that she's ugly. I mean, she's got a pretty face. I'm not saying she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her. She just looks like that kind of person that has, you know, self-serving tendencies.
Last week, she pleaded guilty to lying in June of last year at a bond hearing for her husband about how much money they had.
I stood by my husband through everything, and I kind of feel like he left me with a bunch of pieces of broken glass.
Well, you notice that he never lied about the money. And he didn't ask you to lie about the money. What happened was, and I remember it because I was watching the whole thing, Omara believed, and I believe it was right what he was telling them, is that that money was the money belonged to the donors like me and people that gave money to George because we felt that, you know, it was a David and Goliath type thing, and we were giving David some rocks because that's what all he had. He had nothing against this humongous state that has the power, unlimited power. I mean, she did say that the information's available and they could make a phone call right now and get it, and I think that would have got her off, even though she was, telling them different things. That's fine. She could have got off, but she decided not to. She didn't want to fight it.
That I'm supposed to now assemble and make a life.
She's asking for their 2 dogs and a share of whatever her husband might win in a defamation lawsuit he's filed against NBC. She's also...
Now, why would she think that she has any right to any defamation? Remember, she left him before this whole thing started, right? So in reality, the entire thing has broken. It's gone. And now, believe me when I tell you, from the moment that uh, that she divorces him, she has no access to anything that he makes from here on. And this defamation money has nothing to do with her. What in the world? Why would she think she has any benefit to that unless he decided to give it to her out of the goodness of his heart? I'm sure he'll give her something. I'm sure just because he's a good guy. But I don't think that he's required to under law. I mean, she was leaving him before this thing started. And yeah, whatever they accumulate while they're married, they share. But at this point, they haven't accumulated it. It's not here. It's only what's accumulated during the marriage. So she's going to be out of luck.
hoping she can leave behind the drama that has taken over her life since that fateful night in Sanford.
Are you serious? She's cashing in on the drama right now. Get real.
It's just time. I have supported him for so long and neglected myself for too long. And I feel like I'm finally starting to feel empowered again.
So my idea is ABC came out and found her and picked her up, cleaned her off. You know, you can see they fixed her hair so she doesn't look ridiculous, just trying to make her look better. And that's fine. That's good. But why are they doing it? ABC has a reason behind this. They're obviously trying to smear George, which is great because this is ABC's in line. NBC's just a part of the pie. Believe me. And ABC knows it. So they just keep trying to get that public support against George, anything that they can find. Listen, nobody I know has complained to me about George getting a ticket. except for those people that hate George. So, just ridiculous. And the only thing they're telling us here is that George is selfish, but we haven't heard in what way. What has George done that's selfish? I haven't heard it yet. I really haven't heard it unless she's saying, "Hey, I want millions of dollars that you're going to get. I want some of it." And he's saying, "Huh?" And maybe that's what it is that's bugging her. I don't know. We haven't heard that. Maybe that's going to come out later.
We reached out to Zimmerman and his attorneys told us they would not comment on his wife's allegations.
And is that supposed to be a bad thing? I thought that was classy, you know? It's really none of their business. She's making allegations. It's for her to prove. Let her try. I don't know what she's proven. He's selfish. Anyway, good talking to you guys. Talk to you later.